I never told my husband about my family's wealth back home, even though he always saw me struggling with English and working 2 minimum wage jobs. One day, he invited me to meet his parents at their country club, people who had never left their gated community, people who measured worth by zip codes and last names. I decided to see how they would treat a poor immigrant by playing up every stereotype they expected. But the moment I walked into that marble foyer, everything shifted. What happened that afternoon shattered my husband's family in ways they never anticipated. And honestly, they had it coming. Let me explain how I arrived at that point. Let me tell you who I really am, because my husband David, at 38 years old, never knew the complete truth about his wife. To him, I was always just the woman with a thick accent who cleaned office buildings at night, who took the bus everywhere, who bought clothes at thrift stores, just another immigrant chasing the American dream, someone ordinary, someone he had to protect and help. And I never corrected him. I never told him that back in my country, my family owned one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in South America, that I had grown up with drivers and housekeepers, that I had attended the finest schools in Europe, that I spoke 5 languages fluently, not because I needed to survive, but because that was expected in my social circle. Why tell him? I came to this country to escape that life, to be anonymous, to find someone who loved me for who I was, not for what my family had. I grew up watching people fake affection for access to wealth, watching my parents' friends circle like vultures around opportunity. So I guarded my truth carefully. I worked menial jobs, lived in a tiny studio apartment, took public transportation, saved my American earnings, kept my family money untouched in accounts David didn't know existed. Because real love doesn't need a financial statement. Real love sees the person, not the portfolio. And I was watching closely when David called me that Thursday morning, his voice tight with anxiety, like when he's about to deliver bad news. Mila, we need to talk about something important. My parents want to meet you finally. They're hosting a luncheon at the club on Saturday. It's time. Something in his tone set off alarms. It wasn't excitement. It wasn't joy. It was dread, obligation, the voice of someone preparing for disaster. Do they know anything about me? I asked carefully. There was a pause, too long, too heavy. I told them you're from South America, that you work hard, that you're still learning English, that you don't come from much. There it was, the apologetic summary of my existence, as if my entire identity could be reduced to poverty and foreignness, as if I were a charity case he needed to justify. I took a slow breath. Okay, David. I'll be there. I hung up and looked around my small apartment, deliberately modest furniture, walls bare of the artwork I grew up with, a life carefully constructed to appear humble. And in that moment, I decided something. If David's family expected a poor, struggling immigrant, if they were prepared to judge and condescend, then I would give them exactly what they imagined, amplified, exaggerated, perfect. I would play the part so well they'd never suspect the truth. I wanted to experience firsthand how they treated someone they considered beneath them, because I suspected something dark. I suspected David's family were the type of people who smiled at their equals and sneered at everyone else. And my instincts, honed in boardrooms across 3 continents, were rarely wrong. Saturday arrived. I dressed in the worst outfit I owned, a faded floral dress that looked like it came from a donation bin, cheap plastic sandals, no jewelry except a thin gold chain David had given me. I deliberately messed up my makeup, making myself look tired, worn down by life. I practiced broken English in the mirror, dropping articles, mixing up tenses, adding an extra thick accent. I looked like every stereotype they probably feared their son had married. Perfect. David picked me up in his car, a modest sedan he'd bought used. He looked nervous, wearing khakis and a polo shirt, the country club uniform. As we drove through increasingly wealthy neighborhoods, past manicured lawns and iron gates, I felt his tension growing. Mila, just be yourself, he said. But also, maybe don't mention the cleaning jobs. My mother is sensitive about those things. I nodded, playing docile. Okay, David. Whatever you think is best. He squeezed my hand, mistaking my compliance for anxiety. The country club emerged like a palace, white columns, sprawling gardens, valets in crisp uniforms. We pulled up to the entrance. David handed his keys to a young man who looked at his car with barely concealed disdain. I shuffled out, clutching a cheap vinyl purse, looking around with wide, overwhelmed eyes. Inside, the foyer was all marble and crystal, the kind of ostentatious wealth that screams insecurity. David's hand was sweaty in mine as we walked through corridors lined with portraits of old white men. We entered a private dining room overlooking a golf course. There they were, David's parents, seated at a table set with china so delicate it looked like it would shatter if you breathed on it. His mother, Patricia, wore a cream suit with gold buttons, her silver hair styled in that helmet-like perfection wealthy women favor. Diamonds sparkled at her ears and throat. She had the kind of face that had been lifted and tucked so many times it barely moved. Beside her sat Richard, David's father, in a navy blazer with an embroidered crest, his expression already set in judgment. David approached first. "Mom, Dad, this is Mila, my wife." Patricia extended 2 fingers, not a hand, just fingers, as if I might contaminate her. "How do you do?" Her voice was ice wrapped in silk. "Hello, Mrs. I'm very happy to meet you." I made my accent as thick as possible, mangling the grammar deliberately. Richard didn't offer his hand at all. Just nodded. Charmed. His tone said the opposite. We sat down. I chose the chair furthest from them, as if intimidated by the setting. A waiter appeared immediately, pouring water from a crystal pitcher. Patricia ordered for everyone without asking what we wanted. "The salmon," she said. "It's flown in fresh from Scotland. Nothing but the best here." I stared at the array of forks and knives, picked up the wrong one deliberately, then looked confused. Patricia noticed immediately. "The outside fork first, dear. We work our way in." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, thank you. In my country, we now have so many fork. We eat more simple." Patricia and Richard exchanged a look, the kind of look that speaks volumes. David shifted uncomfortably. "So, Mila," Patricia began, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "David tells us you're from South America. Where exactly?" I named a country, then added, "Very poor place. My family have nothing. I come here for better life, you know, for opportunity." Richard cleared his throat. "And what did your father do?" "He dead now," I said flatly. "He work in factory. My mother, she clean houses. I have 6 brothers and sisters. Very hard life." I watched Patricia's face. She was trying to look sympathetic, but I could see the satisfaction underneath. Her son had married down, way down, and she was already calculating how to fix this problem. The food arrived, tiny portions arranged like art. I picked up my fork awkwardly, took a large bite, chewed with my mouth slightly open. David winced. Patricia dabbed her lips with her napkin. "This must be very different from what you're used to," she said. "Such elegance." I nodded enthusiastically. "Oh yes, very fancy. In my country, we eat with hands sometimes. More easy." Richard coughed into his napkin. Patricia's smile tightened. "And David tells us you work very hard," she continued. 2 jobs, is that right?" "Yes, Mrs. I clean offices at night, and I work at laundromat in day. Very tired always, but I need money. I send some to my family back home. They need help." "How noble," Patricia said. The word sounded like an insult. "And tell me, do you have any education?" I shook my head. "No, Mrs. I no finish school. I have to work when I was young. Help my family. No time for study." Richard leaned back in his chair. "So you can't read English very well?" I looked down ashamed. "Not so good. David helped me sometimes. He very patient." Patricia reached across the table, patted my hand like I was a child. "You poor thing. Life has been so difficult for you. But you're in America now. Things will be better." She glanced at David. "We'll make sure of that." The conversation continued, each question designed to establish hierarchy, to confirm their suspicions, to place me firmly at the bottom of their social ladder. They asked about my apartment, tiny, 1 room, I share with 2 other girls. They asked about my future plans. I hope learn English better, maybe get better job someday. They asked if I understood American customs. I try to learn, but very confusing, so many rules. With each answer, I watched their confidence grow. They had assessed me, categorized me, dismissed me. I was not a threat. I was a problem to be managed. After the meal, Patricia suggested we take a walk through the gardens. "Just us girls," she said, smiling at me. David and Richard went to the bar, leaving me alone with his mother. We walked along manicured paths, past fountains and rose bushes. Patricia linked her arm through mine, a gesture that felt more like capture than affection. "Mila, dear, I want to talk to you, woman to woman." I nodded, playing innocent. "Of course, Mrs." She sighed dramatically. "David is our only son. We love him very much. We've given him every advantage, the best schools, the best opportunities. We had certain expectations for his future." I stayed quiet, waiting. She continued, "We always imagined he would marry someone from our world, someone who understood our lifestyle, our values, someone who could be a proper partner in the life we've built for him." Her meaning was clear. "Someone like you is not that person." "I understand, Mrs., I said softly. "I know I'm not good enough for David. I know you want better for him." Patricia squeezed my arm. "Oh, sweetheart, it's not about being good enough. It's about compatibility, about backgrounds, about fitting in. You must feel so out of place in our world." I nodded, letting my eyes fill with tears. "Yes, Mrs. I feel very strange here. Everything's so different. So expensive. I no belong." Patricia stopped walking, turned to face me. Her expression was gentle, but her eyes were calculating. "Mila, I want to help you. Richard and I have discussed this, and we think it would be best for everyone if we offered you some financial support. Enough for you to start a new life, perhaps go back to your country or stay here, but independently. We would make sure you're comfortable." The bribe. There it was, wrapped in concern, delivered with a smile. "How much?" I asked quietly. Patricia named a figure, $50,000. It sounded generous unless you understood what she was buying. My absence from her son's life. "That very much money," I whispered. "Yes, it is," Patricia agreed. "More than you've probably ever seen. And all we ask is that you think carefully about what's best for David. He has a bright future ahead of him. He could be a partner in his father's firm. He could marry someone who helps him rise. But if he stays with you," she paused, "he'll always be held back, always worried about you, always having to explain." I let the words sink in, let the insult settle. Then I looked up at her, my eyes still wet. "Mrs. Patricia, can I ask you something?" "Of course, dear. What do you think make a person valuable?" She blinked, surprised. "Well, character, education, contribution to society." "And you think I have none of these things?" I asked. My accent was suddenly less thick. Patricia frowned. "I didn't say that exactly. But you must admit, your circumstances are challenging. You come from poverty, you have no education, you work menial jobs. These are facts, not judgments." "Facts," I repeated. "Yes, facts. Let me share some other facts with you, Patricia." My accent was almost gone now, my English suddenly perfect. Her expression shifted, confusion replacing condescension. "What?" I reached into my cheap vinyl purse, pulled out my phone, not the old flip phone David knew about, but my actual phone, the latest model. I opened an app, turned the screen toward her. "This is my family's company," I said. "Pharmaceutical manufacturing, operating in 12 countries, annual revenue of approximately $800 million. Patricia stared at the screen, her face going pale. "That's not, you can't." "My family name is on the building," I continued. "I grew up in a house with 23 rooms. I attended boarding school in Switzerland, university in London. I speak 5 languages fluently. I came to this country not because I was fleeing poverty, but because I was fleeing people exactly like you." Patricia's mouth opened and closed. No sounds came out. I kept going, my voice calm, controlled. "I work cleaning jobs because I wanted to understand this country from the ground up. I wanted to meet real people, people who valued honesty over status. I wanted to find someone who loved me, not my money. And I found David. Sweet, kind David, who never asked about my bank account, who never cared that I took the bus, who loved me for me. But you," I continued, "you couldn't do that. You couldn't see past the cheap clothes and the accent. You couldn't imagine that someone who looked like me, who talked like me, could be your equal. You measured my worth in 60 seconds and found me wanting. Patricia finally found her voice. You lied to us. You deceived us. I gave you the opportunity to show your true character, I corrected. And you failed spectacularly. You offered me money to disappear. You insulted my background, my education, my worth. You treated me like garbage because you thought you could. Patricia's face was red now, anger replacing shock. Richard needs to hear this. David needs to hear this. Yes, I agreed. They do. Shall we go tell them? We walked back to the clubhouse in silence. Patricia's arm was no longer linked with mine. She walked 3 steps ahead, her back rigid with fury. We found David and Richard in the bar, drinking scotch, laughing about something. Richard, Patricia said sharply. We need to talk. Now. David looked up, saw his mother's face, then mine. Mom, what happened? What's wrong? Your wife, Patricia spat the word, has been lying to us. To all of us. David stood up. What are you talking about? I stepped forward. I haven't been lying, David. I've been omitting. There's a difference. Omitting what? He asked, confused. I took a breath. I never told you about my family because I didn't want it to matter. I wanted you to love me for who I am, not what I have. But your parents have made it very clear that in their world, what you have is all that matters. So let me clarify things. I pulled out my phone again, showed David the same screen I'd shown his mother. This is my family's company. I'm not a poor immigrant struggling to survive. I'm a wealthy woman who chose to live simply, who chose to work honestly, who chose to find authentic love. David stared at the screen, then at me. You're serious. Completely serious. My family has money. A lot of money. More than your family, I said, looking at Richard. More than you'll ever have. Richard stood up. Now wait just a minute. No, you wait, I cut him off. My voice was steel now, no trace of the timid immigrant. For the past 2 hours, I've been insulted, patronized, and offered a bribe to leave your son. I've been treated like a servant, like a problem, like something to be managed and disposed of. And I let it happen because I needed to see who you really are. Patricia found her voice. You had no right to trick us. I had every right, I replied. You were preparing to judge me before you met me. David told me. He warned me you'd be difficult. He apologized in advance for your behavior. That's how predictable you are. That's how consistently cruel you are to anyone you consider beneath you. David looked at his parents. Is that true? Did you really offer her money to leave me? Patricia lifted her chin. We were trying to protect you. From what? David asked. From happiness? From love? From someone who actually cares about me, not my last name? Richard stepped forward. Son, you don't understand. We've worked hard to build our position in this community. We have standards. Your standards are garbage, I said flatly. You have money, yes. You have memberships and connections and property. But you have no class. No real education. No empathy. You're exactly the kind of people I left my country to avoid. The bar had gone quiet. Other members were watching now, pretending not to listen, but hearing every word. Patricia noticed, her face going even redder. Lower your voice. This is not the place. This is exactly the place, I replied. This is your kingdom, isn't it? Your domain where everyone knows your name and respects your money. Well, let them hear this. Let them hear how you treat people you think are powerless. Let them hear how you offered $50,000 to make your son's wife disappear. Gasps rippled through the room. Richard grabbed my arm. That's enough. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then up at his face. Remove your hand, or I'll have security remove you. My tone was so cold, so commanding, that he actually stepped back. David was pale. Mom, Dad, I think you should leave. Patricia turned on him. We should leave? We're members here. You're embarrassing us. You embarrassed yourselves, David said quietly. Mila was right. I warned her about you. I told her you'd be judgmental. I told her you'd find her lacking. And she wanted to give you a chance anyway. She wanted to see if I was wrong. But I wasn't. You're exactly as small-minded as I feared. Richard's face was purple now. If you choose her over us, there will be consequences. Choose her over you? David laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Dad, there's no choice. I married her. I love her. And after today, after seeing how you treated her, I'm ashamed to be your son. Patricia started crying, loud theatrical sobs. How can you say that? After everything we've done for you? What have you done? David asked. Given me money? Paid for schools? That's not love. That's investment. You've been grooming me to be your perfect heir, your trophy son. But I'm not interested anymore. I touched David's arm gently. We should go. He nodded. We started walking toward the exit. Patricia called after us. You'll regret this. Both of you. When you need us, we won't be there. I turned back one last time. Patricia, Richard, let me make something very clear. We will never need you. Not financially, not socially, not emotionally. You have nothing we want except the decency to treat people with respect, and you've proven you don't have that either. We walked out of the country club into bright sunshine. David was shaking. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. You have nothing to apologize for, I told him. But we need to talk. About everything. About who I really am. About why I kept it from you. We drove to a park, sat on a bench overlooking a lake. I told him everything. About my family, my background, my reasons for hiding it. About wanting to be loved for myself, not my money. About testing his parents, about confirming my worst fears. David listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. I understand why you did it. I hate that you felt you had to, but I understand. And you were right about my parents. I've always known what they were like. I just hoped they'd be different with you. They weren't. No, I agreed. They weren't. So what now, he asked. Now we decide what kind of life we want, I said. Do we want to keep pretending I'm poor? Do we want to use my family's money? Do we want something in between? David thought about it. I don't want your money, he said finally. I don't want to become like them, measuring worth by bank accounts. But I also don't want you cleaning toilets when you don't have to. I want us to be honest, to be real, to build something that's ours. I smiled. That sounds perfect. We sat there as the sun set, making plans, talking about the future, about boundaries with his parents, about how to live authentically. And I realized something important. By pretending to be poor, I hadn't just exposed his parents. I'd also freed myself. Freed myself from the fear of judgment, from the weight of secrets, from the burden of pretending. David's parents never apologized. They told friends I'd manipulated their son, that I was a gold digger in disguise. The irony was lost on them. But David stood firm. He set boundaries, demanded respect, and when they couldn't provide it, he walked away. We built our life together, using some of my family money to start a nonprofit, helping real immigrants, people who actually needed support. We lived modestly, worked hard, and found happiness in authenticity. And every time I thought about that afternoon at the country club, I smiled. Because I'd given Patricia and Richard exactly what they deserved. Not revenge, not cruelty, just truth. The truth that their values were hollow, their judgments were worthless, and their money couldn't buy what mattered most: love, respect, and human decency. Those things I'd learned were truly priceless. And no amount of wealth, real or pretended, could change that fundamental fact.